In what is now shaping up to be one of the most explosive geopolitical developments in West Africa this year, President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso has reportedly ordered the seizure of 47 trucks loaded with weapons and military equipment, a cache valued at over $100 million, all of it disguised as humanitarian aid. Yes, you heard that right. Weapons, not food. Not medical supplies. Not clothing. Weapons. Allegedly funneled into Burkina Faso under the cover of foreign assistance. And this is just the beginning. According to highly placed government sources and regional intelligence networks, the trucks were intercepted at a secure checkpoint near Fadangorma, a strategic zone not far from the Niger and Benin borders, a known corridor for foreign aid deliveries and, reportedly, covert operations. The convoy was said to be under the protection of personnel carrying fake NGO identification, complete with international logos, documents, and mission objectives, claiming to deliver support to internally displaced persons. But President Traoré's new anti-infiltration task force, recently created in response to growing concerns about foreign interference, had been tipped off. They had intelligence suggesting something wasn't right. And they acted. Once the trucks were opened, what they found was staggering. Crates of assault rifles, high-caliber ammunition, military-grade communication devices, and even night vision gear, which is rarely used in any civilian operation. Some sources claim rocket-propelled grenades, RPGs, and drone parts were also among the items seized. If true, this raises major questions about who sent these weapons, why, and for whom they were intended. Who is behind this? As of now, the government has not officially named the origin country of the shipment, but unofficial leaks suggest that the containers originated from a European port, with documentation routed through multiple third-party logistics companies, likely to blur the trail. One high-ranking Burkinabe intelligence officer, speaking under anonymity, said, "This was not a mistake. It was a deliberate, well-funded, and covert operation. This was not for peace. These weapons were not meant to protect, they were meant to destabilize." And destabilization is a word we're hearing more and more in West Africa, especially among the Sahel nations that have recently shifted away from French and Western influence. Burkina Faso, under President Traoré, has taken a bold and unapologetic stance against neo-colonialism, foreign manipulation, and covert military operations in the region. This seizure might just be the smoking gun that confirms what many have feared, that some so-called humanitarian efforts may be Trojan horses. But why Burkina Faso? President Traoré, one of the youngest heads of state in Africa, has emerged as a strong figure in the rising wave of Pan-Africanism, openly criticizing external influence while strengthening ties with neighboring countries like Mali and Niger. Since coming to power through a popular military-backed uprising, Traoré has prioritized national sovereignty, resource control, and internal security. He has also expelled French troops, shut down Western NGOs suspected of espionage, and called out the hypocrisy of international organizations that remain silent while terror networks thrive under foreign watch. So was this shipment of weapons part of a broader plan to undermine his leadership? Or worse, was it meant to arm insurgents, rebels, or proxy forces loyal to foreign interests? We don't have all the answers yet. But what we do know is this. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a clerical error. And this definitely wasn't humanitarian aid. The international community has remained largely silent, with no major Western media outlets reporting on the incident as of yet. This silence is deafening, and many in Burkina Faso and across Africa are now demanding transparency, accountability, and international investigations. The people are asking, why were weapons disguised as aid? Who approved this shipment? And what other nations might be involved in similar operations? And more importantly, what happens next? President Traoré has promised a full investigation, and sources say several foreign operatives are currently being interrogated by military intelligence. The question now is, how deep does this go? Was this just one shipment out of many? Is Burkina Faso the only target, or is this part of a larger plan to destabilize the Pan-African movement sweeping across the Sahel? Because this is no longer just a local scandal. This is the face of a new hybrid war. A war waged not with bombs and tanks alone, but through manipulated aid, proxy operatives, and foreign-controlled NGOs. A war targeting Africa's independence. And make no mistake, what President Traoré is fighting right now is exactly that. According to internal documents seized from the trucks, the cargo was processed through 3 different ports: Rotterdam, Netherlands; Algeciras, Spain; and Cotonou, Benin. Each port stamped the shipment as humanitarian material, non-military, and clearance was granted under European export assistance programs to Sahel nations. But here's where it gets murky. The final leg, from Benin to Burkina Faso, was organized by a Western-affiliated NGO, operating under a name previously flagged in Mali for covert surveillance. Traoré's security services tracked the movements of the convoy using drone surveillance and local intel assets. When they intercepted the cargo, GPS units embedded in the shipment were still linked to satellite relays in Europe, suggesting that real-time data was being fed back to a foreign command center. So the obvious question is, who was monitoring this? And what? Over the last decade, hundreds of foreign NGOs have flooded into Africa, often claiming to deliver food, medicine, and development aid. But some, and it's time to say this clearly, have become instruments of covert influence and destabilization. In the case of the seized trucks, at least 2 NGO logos were used. One belonged to a well-known European charity group, yet investigations revealed that the logo had been duplicated and printed in Lagos, with 0 official approval from the actual organization. Fake branding. Real weapons. This wasn't sloppiness, this was strategic. One security analyst based in Niamey put it bluntly: Western intelligence agencies have long used aid organizations as soft entry points. What Traoré has uncovered is not a one-off, it's a blueprint. Traoré has since ordered the expulsion of 5 NGOs and froze the accounts of several others suspected of serving as intelligence fronts. The government has also launched a nationwide audit of all foreign aid cargo. And for the first time, Burkina Faso is questioning not just the weapons, but the entire aid system. Perhaps even more disturbing than the discovery itself is the deafening silence from Western powers. No condemnation. No accountability. Not even a statement of denial. But because they're caught in a dilemma. To acknowledge the seizure is to admit involvement, or at the very least, expose the failure of oversight in how international aid is trafficked across fragile states. And yet, behind closed doors, diplomatic sources confirm that pressure is mounting on President Traoré to stay quiet. He's received at least 3 requests for clarification from embassies in Ouagadougou, veiled threats, disguised as dialogue. But he isn't backing down. The new Sahel alliance, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger strike back. This incident didn't happen in isolation. It comes at a time when Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, under new military leadership, have rejected French military presence, suspended foreign mining licenses, and begun crafting independent defense pacts. Together, they've launched the Alliance of Sahel States, IS, a coalition based not on Western approval, but on African self-determination. Traoré, in particular, has become a symbol of this defiance, young, unshaken, and unapologetically Pan-African. And the seizure of the 47 weaponized aid trucks is being seen across the region not as an isolated victory, but a warning to all foreign agents. The game has changed. But here's the hard truth. This may just be the tip of the iceberg. Military analysts believe there may be other convoys, possibly already embedded within camps, markets, or urban centers, waiting to be activated. That's why Burkina Faso's military has declared a state of strategic alert, deploying teams to trace every route connected to this smuggling network. And as we speak, foreign intelligence agents caught in possession of encrypted devices are being interrogated. The contents of those devices? Still classified. But what we're hearing is that the data could implicate higher powers, including foreign contractors, private security firms, and intelligence agencies operating on African soil without legal mandate. This is no longer just about Burkina Faso. This is about Africa's sovereignty. In this war of shadows, one thing is clear. President Traoré and the people of Burkina Faso are refusing to be puppets. They are calling the bluff of global superpowers. They are unmasking the lies beneath the so-called aid. And they are declaring, in no uncertain terms, Africa will no longer be silent, submissive, or sold out. But we are far from done. Who are the individuals and companies behind this smuggling chain? What role are African collaborators playing? And how far will foreign powers go to stop this new wave of resistance? We are entering the heart of the conspiracy. And it is bigger, darker, and more dangerous than anyone expected. Stay with us. The battle for Africa has just begun. If this information matters to you, share it. Let it reach every African, every ally, and every voice seeking the truth. Leave your thoughts in the comments, subscribe, and stay tuned for part 3. Because we are not done. Hashtag expose the plot. Hashtag Africa unites. Hashtag Ibrahim Traore. Hashtag weapons is it. Hashtag the new Africa.